What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's fight at 147 pounds between Delante Tiger Johnson and Kendo Tremendo Castanada. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please hit the subscribe button? Plus, like this video, and also be sure to hit the bell notification button so you can be notified every time I put something out that's new. Thank you. This boxing wave keeps on rolling. Another week of great fights. This weekend in Las Vegas, Nevada, we have the rematch between Meyer and Sandy Ryan, but you also have on that card a world title fight between Brian Norman Jr. and Cuevas. And all week, I'm going to be going over that main event. There's 5 fights, starting with the fight feature today between Tiger Johnson and Kendo Castanada. In this video, I'm going to remind everybody who these guys are. We're going to talk about their most recent resumes, what they do well, what they've been up to, pros and cons going into the fight. We're going to talk about, as always, the betting odds, and stay tuned to the end of the video because I'm going to give you my prediction and tell you where to put your money to make the most of it. Let's get started. Guys, it seems like forever ago, maybe a decade or so, where Kendo Tremendo was an up-and-coming prospect. At 31 years old, he's still not over the hill, but in boxing, you see this all the time. Sometimes guys don't quite develop the way some people say they were supposed to, and for whatever reason, with Castaneda, this is a kid who started his career 17-0 with a lot of hype on him, a shiny undefeated record, but since then he's dropped 8 fights out of his last 12, and he's looking to get back on track after having lost 2 consecutively. With Tiger Johnson, this is a kid from Northeast Ohio, as am I, Youngstown in the house. Tiger's from Cleveland. I love featuring Ohio fighters, specifically from Northeast Ohio. And we know that he was an Olympian. We know that he turned pro in 2021, which seems like yesterday. It's wild to think that that's 4 years ago. He is undefeated. He does a lot of things really well. And like a lot of Olympians who come through that American system, they box well technically. They have a good ring IQ. They use the entire ring, and they know how to get victories. They know how to win fights. So in this matchup, you're going to have your classic litmus test. You're going to see a guy in Castaneda who's going to have double the pro rounds experience than his opponent. You're going to see a guy who's fought for the last decade versus a younger guy only by 5 years. Tiger's 26, Castaneda's 31, but that pro experience matters. And with Tiger, his team and himself, he's going to be able to use Castaneda as a measuring tool, as a measuring stick. How deep is the water? Where am I in my development? There's so much hype on Tiger. People talking about he's the next big thing coming out of the 2020 class. And with another win, another electrifying knockout in a new division, only time will tell to see how high his star will rise. Right now, I want to talk a little bit about this matchup and what to expect this weekend. Guys, we already know that this fight is taking place on the undercard of Meyer versus Ryan 2, as well as the Brian Norman Jr. fight. Tiger Johnson, who was scheduled to face Keyshawn Toller in a canceled bout on the Baranchik versus Davis undercard on February 14th in New York, will fight Kendo Tremendo Castaneda. The contest is scheduled for 8 rounds at welterweight. This will be Johnson's first fight at 147 pounds. The 26-year-old's 14-0 with 6 knockouts. He resides in Cleveland, Ohio, and earned his 3rd win of the year last September, scoring a unanimous decision against the tough and gritty seasoned veteran Yomar Alamo. 31-year-old Castaneda, who's 21-8 with 9 knockouts, lost his 2nd fight in a row by unanimous decision against Kenneth Sims Jr. on February 15th on the Duarte versus Medueno undercard in Anaheim, California. So right now, guys, I want to take a closer look at Castaneda and see what he's been up to throughout his career. Guys, Kendo Castaneda has a career record of 21-8 with 9 knockouts. He carries into the ring a 43% career knockout to win ratio. He's currently ranked worldwide at 140 pounds. He sits at 341. The American's 31 years old, and the Orthodox fighter stands at 5'10" with a 67-inch reach. We last saw him fight Kenneth Sims Jr., who was 21-2. He lost to UD in the 10th. Elvis Rodriguez was 16-1. He lost another decision in the 10th. Cameron Krill, 20-32, UD in the 8th. Jared Tennant, 8-2, UD in the 8th. Antonio Moran, 28-5. He lost via stoppage in the 10th. So like I said, this is a guy in Castaneda at 31 years old, a decade into the pro game, started off his career 17-0. He's going to have the ring experience, and like I always say with these veterans, in terms of when they get to the stage of their career, if they're not undefeated and they're not fighting for world titles, you have to kind of question and see where their headspace is, see where their psychology is in terms of how welcoming are they to take on the role of gatekeeper or take on the role of measuring stick. And those aren't derogatory terms. Those are just facts and stages within one's boxing career. You'll hear guys all the time who are in the mid to later parts of the career who use the word gatekeeper as a positive. So when I say that, I'm not talking down on Castanada, but he's fighting an undefeated former Olympian, 14-0 with 6 knockouts in Tiger, who has a lot of hype on him. So this fight was put together exactly because of this, because of Castanada's career thus far, where it's at, and where Tiger is in his career. Let's take a closer look at Tiger Johnson's resume. Guys, Delonte Johnson's 14-0 with 6 knockouts. He carries into the ring a 43% career knockout to win ratio, and he's currently ranked at 140 pounds, number 40 in the world. And the 26-year-old American is an orthodox fighter standing at 5'11" with a 71-inch reach. We last saw him fight Yomar Alamo, 22-2, UD in the 8th. Zaina, 13-1, UD in the 8th. Paulo Galdino, 13-7, TKO in the 1st. Espinoza, 15-1, split decision in the 8th. Quiros, 13-2, majority decision in the 8th. So with Tiger Johnson, the managing of his career has been proper so far. He doesn't knock everybody out, and he isn't really whitewashing everybody. He's won a few close decisions, a split decision here and there, against guys that some people were saying that would have been a great test in terms of Alamo. Now, when we use terms like step up, we could say that because literally Tiger's never fought a 47, so he is stepping up in that regards. And when you look at his last few opponents, none of them come close in terms of career rounds and pro experience than Castanada. When we look at how these guys match up, both of them kind of cancel each other out with the height. Tiger's 5'11", Castanada's 5'10". Tiger will have a little bit longer of a reach. We talk about that experience in pro rounds. This is where Castanada will have the advantage. You think psychologically as well. He has to be thinking about that, I'm going to press this younger fighter, I'm going to make him uncomfortable, and I'm going to lean in on my ring experience to put him in situations that he feels uncomfortable, and I'm sure Castanada is banking on Tiger to make a mistake. Now, with Johnson at 26 years old, he's on the rise. He doesn't know how to lose. He has that Olympic pedigree, and he feels with another big win, he's just going to keep moving up on that main card, eventually getting to a main card feature in the next few years. As of right now, the betting app that I use down here in Australia, Sportsbet, isn't even allowing us to bet on this fight. Usually the undercard fighters will show up maybe a day or two before the main event. So as we get later on in the week, it's only Monday afternoon here in Sydney. If those odds do open up and I put this bet on my parlay, I'll put it in the community notes. But right now, the American bettors, he's at a 9-1 favorite. So Tiger Johnson's 9-1. Castanada's a 9-1 dog, meaning $100 on Tiger gets you $4 back. $100 on Castanada to just win on the money line gets you $900 back. My prediction for this fight, I expect Tiger Johnson to be tested. This is only an 8-round fight, so these rounds are going to fly by. I think Tiger Johnson's going to rely on his speed, reflexes, and skill set to steal some rounds, and I think Castaneda is going to be there to get hit. I expect Tiger to use the ring, use his jab, put Castaneda in positions to keep getting touched, and use his overly aggressive nature against him. I'm predicting Tiger Johnson to win this fight by decision. In the comment section below, you don't have to agree with me. How do you see this one going? The 26-year-old prospect in Tiger or the 31-year-old veteran in Kendo Tremendo? Let me know in the comment section below. Also, stay tuned to the channel because we got a bunch of fights from this card that we're going to be featuring. In today's video, we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's fight at 126 pounds between the American Bruce "Shushu" Carrington and the Mexican executioner Enrique Vivas. Alright guys, this weekend we have a huge card in Las Vegas, headlined by Michaela versus Sandy Ryan 2. Also, there's a world title on that fight card at 147 pounds between Brian Norman Jr. and Cuevas. Yesterday we highlighted one of the fights on the undercard between Tiger Johnson and Kendo Tremendo Castanada. But today, we're featuring the young fighter from Brownsville, New York, Bruce "Shushu" Carrington, as he's taking on the tough, gritty Mexican Enrique Vivas. So in today's video, we're going to be going over what each fighter has been up to. We're going to talk about how they're going to go about their business. Also, we're going to talk about where Las Vegas and the bettors currently have their money at on which fighter, as well as stay tuned to the end of the video because I'll be giving you my prediction on where to put your money. Guys, Carrington's a 27-year-old, very exciting fighter. He's already ranked number 12 in the world at 126 pounds. We featured him once on the channel before when he took on Australian deadly Dana Colwell. If you remember, that was on the undercard of Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul in Texas. Now, he's 14-0. He's looking to continue his rise and eventually fight for a world title. This is a world title eliminator. His opponent, they were supposed to fight last June, and that fight got scrapped. And the words from Carrington's own mouth said that last June, Vivas was going to be his biggest step up in opposition, and Carrington wanted to be the first guy to stop him. 2024 was a busy year for Carrington. He fought 4 times. Can't say the same thing about Vivas. We only saw him fight 1 time. So the activity is on Carrington's side. Right now, I want to talk a little bit about this matchup and what you guys as fight fans can expect. Guys, going into the fight this weekend, Bruce Carrington is a massive favorite against Enrique Vivas. The fight goes down Saturday, March 29th at the Fontainebleau, Las Vegas, Nevada. The fight is scheduled for 10 rounds in the featherweight division, which is 126 pounds, which means both fighters will have to make the weight limit of 126 pounds on the day of the weigh-in. This fight is a final eliminator for the WBC Featherweight Championship. Bruce Carrington steps into the ring with an undefeated record of 14 wins, 0 losses, and 8 wins by knockout. Enrique Vivas will make his way into the ring with a record of 23 wins with 3 losses, 12 of his wins by knockout. He has never been stopped. The stats suggest Carrington has a slight advantage in power over Vivas with a 57% knockout percentage compared to Vivas's 52% knockout to win ratio. Carrington's the younger man by 3 years at 27 years old. He also has a height advantage of 1 inch and a 6-inch reach advantage. Keep that in mind later in the video. Both Carrington and Vivas fight out of an orthodox stance. Carrington is a less experienced fighter, having 12 fewer fights and made his debut in 2021, while Vivas' first professional fight was in 2014. Carrington remains undefeated as a professional, stopping 3 of his last 5 opponents. In his last fight, he defeated Dana Colwell on November 15, 2024 by unanimous decision in their 8-round contest at AT&T Stadium. I should also mention Carrington's last 5 fights have come over a period of 1 year, 3 months, and 20 days, which means he's been fighting approximately every 3 months and 5 days. In those fights, he fought a total of 32 rounds, meaning that each one of his fights have lasted an average of 6.5 rounds. Vivas, on the other hand, his last 4 fights have come in over a period of 5 years, 6 months, and 9 days, meaning he's been fighting on average every year and a half. And in those fights, he's fought a total of 38 rounds, meaning that his average fight time is 9.5 rounds. All you have to do is watch a few of Carrington's fights and you know he brings a chip on his shoulder every fight. You got to think that he's going to bring his A game. And what really impressed me the most about Shushu in his last fight was the fact that with all the lights on him versus Colwell and the fight week leading up to that, Carrington was comparing himself to Mike Tyson. He was excited that Tyson was supporting him, considering they're both from Brownsville, New York. And a lot of times it's tough for young fighters with all the pressure of the world to step up when the lights are the brightest. And Carrington did not have a letdown fight. That was the best I saw him against Colwell. Colwell is a dangerous fighter, tall and rangy for the division. He's a tough out. Carrington's speed was on full display, his ring IQ, his movement patterns, and he didn't knock Colwell out, but he was a step ahead of him on every interaction, and that really impressed me. I expect to see the same, if not better, from Carrington. Right now, I want to take a closer look at each fighter's resumes. First, let's look at the executioner, Vivas. Guys, Vivas is 23-3 with 12 knockouts. He carries in the ring a 52% career knockout to win ratio. Due to his inactivity, he's not ranked at 126 pounds. The 5'7" Mexican is an orthodox fighter with his 66-inch reach. His adoring fans call him El Ejecutor, or the Executioner. We last saw him fight Jonathan Aguilar, 20-18 knockout in the first. Joet Gonzalez, 25-3. He lost a decision in the 10th. Mercado, 19-7. Won a split decision in the 8th. Baez, 20-2. He lost a majority decision in the 10th. Vivas is an exciting fighter. He throws a lot of volume. If you look at any of his fights, he's going to be pressuring on that front foot, that typical Mexican style, never takes a back step, and he's going to look to out-volume his opponents, drown his opponents, and he's tough as nails. He has a chin on him, never been stopped, and he's all action. I feel in terms of styles, this is going to be a fan-friendly fight. Him and Carrington will meet in the center of the ring, and it's going to give each fighter an opportunity to get their shots off. It's going to come down to the faster guy. It's going to come down to who lands the better shots. Let's take a quick look at Carrington and see what he's been up to. Bruce Carrington's 14-0 with 8 knockouts. He carries into the ring a 57% career knockout to win ratio, and out of 1,700 fighters at the featherweight division, he's ranked number 12 in the world. The American's 27 years old, standing at 5'8". The Orthodox fighter has a 72-inch reach, and his adoring fans call him Shoo Shoo. We last saw him fight Derrieck Cuevas, who's 13-2. He won a UD in the 8th. Segal was 17-4, majority decision in the 10th. DeGracia 29-3, knockout in the 8th. Torres 18-1, knockout in the 4th. Like I said earlier, 3 out of his last 5 wins are by knockout. He's an exciting fighter, and he wants to get highlight victories, and I feel the matchup with him versus Vivas, it'll give him the opportunity, if he plays his cards right, if he's patient enough, but he can't let rounds disappear because, like I said, Vivas' output is going to be there, but at the same time, that aggression should give Carrington the opportunity and the openings to counter and look for a big shot. When I look at these guys side by side, Carrington's going to be the younger guy by 3 years, 27-30. It's going to be that reach advantage that I feel, 6 inches, that'll give Carrington an opportunity to catch Vivas on the front foot, like I said, catch him over aggressive, and maybe backing up, catch him with something. We'll see. The pro rounds and the experience is on Vivas' side, and we've never seen him get stopped. This is why in the media leading up to the fight, you heard Shoo Shoo say he wants to be the first guy to stop Vivas, and he feels that this will be the biggest step up in competition for himself. So he wants to prove something to the boxing community. 126 pounds is an exciting division. Carrington feels with an exciting victory, he'll keep the ball moving forward and give him an opportunity to fight for a world title sooner rather than later. When we look at the odds of Las Vegas, they currently have Vivas at close to a 9-1 underdog. If you guys aren't aware, I live in Sydney. I use an app called Sportsbet. I know when I do this part of the video, a lot of you guys ask me where I'm getting my odds. So if you're down here in Australia, go to Sportsbet. $100 on the underdog will get you close to $900 in return. $100 on Carrington only gets you $9 in return. The draw pays 26-1. So if you're feeling froggy, maybe you roll the dice there. Currently, guys, the only options for me down here is the money line. So if those odds change, I'll let you know in the community section. Regarding my prediction, I think it's going to be business as usual. I think that Carrington's speed, his movement, and his ability to counter is going to be too much for Vivas. I like him to win this fight. Like I said, I can only take the money line at $1.09. So right now, I don't know if that juice is enough to squeeze to put on a parlay, but I'm predicting Carrington to defeat Vivas. In the comment section below, let me know where you're going. What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny. And in today's video, we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's title fight at 147 pounds between two of the baddest ladies on the planet, the champion Michaela and the challenger Sandy Ryan. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. If you haven't already, could you please hit subscribe? Could you also like this video? As well as go down to the bottom of the screen and hit the bell notification icon so you can be notified every time I create something that's new. Thank you. All right, guys, this is the rematch, and this upcoming fight this weekend has just as much vitriol behind it than the first one. If we remember, Sandy Ryan was the champion. Michaela took the belt and dethroned her. There were allegations pre-fight of one fighter stealing the other fighter's coach, another one spying on the other one in fight camp. Sandy Ryan got paint thrown on her and accused Michaela of her team and her doing that. Obviously, Mayer's team denied it. As fight night approached, people were stoked, and the first fight was the most viewed female headline boxing match of all time. So fight fans were waiting for this one to be signed, and when we got news it was going to be part of the card this weekend in Vegas with another title fight at 147 pounds between the men Brian Norman Jr. and Cuevas, people were stoked. So today we're going to talk about both ladies' resumes. We're going to compare and contrast what they've done in their career. We're going to see where Vegas has the money, where the bettors are betting. As of now, it's close to a coin flip, 50-50 as it gets, as well as stay tuned to the end of the video because, like always, I'm going to be giving you my prediction and telling you where I'm putting my money. All right, guys, to open this up, I want to remind everyone what took place last fight and catch everyone up to date on what to expect this weekend in Las Vegas. Michaela will defend her WBO welterweight world title in a rematch against former champion Sandy Ryan. The tension between the two intensified before the first fight last September. Meyer claimed Ryan had poached her trainer, while Ryan alleged that Team Meyer had orchestrated a pre-fight stunt, which saw Ryan doused with paint outside of the New York City Fight Hotel, a claim that Meyer wholeheartedly denies. Meyer dethroned Ryan via majority decision, but their feud goes on, and it will be settled this weekend in Las Vegas. A 2016 Olympian, Meyer debuted in 2017 and tore through the super lightweight ranks before capturing the IBF and WBO world titles. She came up short in a disputed October 2022 split that went against her when she fought WBC champion Alicia Baumgardner, but moved up to lightweight the following April to claim the WBC interim belt with a win over Lucy Wildheart. After outpointing Sylvia Borto that September, Meyer returned 4 months later to challenge Natasha Jonas for the IBF strap, losing another close split decision in a toe-to-toe classic. Undeterred, Meyer set her sights on Ryan for the WBO belt and became a two-division champion. And I quote, "I've never been one to shy away from challenges. I could have taken my belt and moved on, but it was a highly entertaining fight, and if this is what the fight fans want, then this is what I'll give them," Meyer said. Britain Sandy Ryan, the fighting pride of Derby, turned pro in 2021 after capturing gold at the 2018 Commonwealth Games and silver at the 2014 World Championships. She avenged her first pro loss to Erica Farias with a decisive unanimous verdict and claimed the vacant WBO welterweight title in 2023 by outpointing Marie-Pierre Huel. A contentious draw with former undisputed champion Jessica McCaskill stalled her hopes at unifying the division, but Ryan rebounded last March with a career-best knockout of Terry Harper. Her championship reign came to a halt last September against Meyer in their exciting first fight, and I quote, "As crazy as this sounds, after what happened last time in New York, I'm actually looking forward to returning to the US," Ryan said. "I've had some remarkable history-making fights here already, so the opportunity to come back and showcase my talent while headlining in the fight capital of the world is amazing," end quote. Guys, this is a fun fight. Both ladies are there to get hit. Both ladies stay in the pocket. If it's anything like their first one, it's all action. I talk about it all the time when we feature the female fights, is that these are only 2-minute rounds. So when somebody asks me what the biggest difference is, I'm gonna say output. Watch any female boxing match and it's constant action. So kudos to both athletes. They're gonna come in fit, they're gonna come in ready, and you know Meyer's gonna want to keep the belt and Ryan is gonna want revenge. What I want to do now is take a little bit of a closer look at each lady's resumes and see what they've been up to. First, let's look at the challenger, Sandy Ryan. Guys, Sandy Ryan's 7-2 with 1 draw. She does have 3 career knockouts. She carries into the ring a 43% career knockout to win ratio. Out of 157 welterweights in the world, she's ranked number 3. The 31-year-old Brit is an orthodox fighter standing at 5'9" with a 67-inch reach. She last fought Michaela last year, 19-2. She lost a majority decision in which she lost her belt. Terry Harper, 14-1, knocked her out in the 4th. Jessica McCaskill, a draw. Marie-Pierre Huel, 8-0, unanimous decision in the 10th. Esther Sanchez, 21-5, unanimous decision in the 10th. Sandy Ryan doesn't have the most pro rounds. She doesn't have a vast pro experience, but like I talked about earlier, she does have that amateur pedigree. She's tough as nails. I'd like to see her add a little bit of head movement, a little bit move off the center line in this fight, but she is there to get hit. It's kind of like her personality. I don't want to say this is a downside, but she kind of uses her head and her high guard to defend. So we'll see if she slips a little bit more. I'd like to see her take less damage in this fight, but for fans, it's all action, and I can't wait to see what happens. Let's take a closer look at Michaela Mayer. Guys, Mayer is 20-2 with 5 knockouts. She carries into the ring a 25% career knockout to win ratio. She's currently ranked number 1 in the world out of the welterweights. She is the WBO World Welterweight Champion. The 34-year-old American is an orthodox fighter standing at 5'9" with a 66-inch reach. She last fought Sandy Ryan, 7-1, won a majority decision in which she became the world champion. Natasha Jonas, 14-2, she lost a split decision in the 10th. Borto, 11-2, she won a points decision in the 10th. Wildheart, 10-1, UD in the 10th. And then we also mentioned that Baumgardner fight back in October of 2022. She lost a close split decision in the 10th. Meyer's only 2 losses are split decisions, close fights. She could easily be undefeated. She has all the skill sets, all the attributes. She's physically imposing, and she could box. When I look at both ladies side by side, their height cancels each other out, the reach cancels each other out. But when you think about the psychology of that first fight and everything that took place and went down, Sandy Ryan is the one who lost her belt. She is the one coming back over the pond to try to get that belt back. You'd have to think a one-up emotionally will be on Meyer's side. She is the champion. It's going to be tough to take her belt. I like her pro round experience as well. Over 20 pro fights. She has over double the pro experience as Sandy Ryan. When I think about the game plans of what's going to happen, I don't know if I could expect anything different from Michaela. She's going to go on there, work her power shot. She's going to want to control the center of the ring with her lead foot, and she knows that Sandy Ryan is going to be there to get hit. I already talked about the biggest adjustment for Ryan is to move her head a bit, maybe circle left to right away from Michaela's power, but who knows? I have a feeling as soon as this bell rings, it's going to be a war from the onset. So fight fans, we should be expecting that. Las Vegas currently has this fight as a coin flip. It's been a while since I pulled up the odds and both said 197, meaning 50-50. You put $100 on Michaela to win on the money line, 97 back. Same with Sandy Ryan. When I look at the method of victory bets down here in Australia, I use the sports bet app. I want to go on and look at those real quick, so let's do that now. Method of victory, Michaela Mayer by points of decision, 2-1. So it increases her odds from a 97 return on 100 to 2-1 return on 100. Michaela to win by knockout. She only has 5 on her resume. That's why it's a 13-1. If you're feeling that she could bully, aggressively beat down Sandy Ryan, maybe take that risk. Sandy Ryan by points, she bumps up from a 197 to 230, just like Michaela. Sandy Ryan by knockout, 10-1. She has a little bit more pop, a little bit more power. Naturally, the heavier of the two. So the odds makers are saying $100 gets you 10-1 in return. All the money is on either one to win by decision. Now, when I think about where I'm going to put my money, I'm always sort of a what have you done for me lately? A trilogy in boxing is something that fans love to hope for and wish for. I just feel that the adjustments that Sandy Ryan is going to have to make versus the game plan of Michaela Mayer, also the problem that Mayer will put on Ryan in terms of her style, her having to come over from the UK to the States, having to beat the champion and take the belt. I just feel that Michaela's going to be too much. I think that she's going to this time turn up the volume a bit more and outwork her from the early onset. I don't expect her to give many rounds away, and I'm putting my money on Michaela Mayer to win this fight. Now, you don't have to agree with me in the comment section below right now. Who are you taking? Are you taking the Brit to get her belt back, or are you taking Michaela to keep her belt? What's up, fight fans? Welcome to my channel. This is Johnny, and in today's video, we're going to be going over the statistics that nobody talks about when mentioning this weekend's world title fight at 147 pounds between the champion, Brian Norman Jr., and the challenger, Puerto Rican knockout artist, Derrieck Cuevas. Guys, before I continue, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Thank you to everybody who's been with me since day one. My YouTube analytics are telling me that 80% of you guys who watch my content haven't hit subscribe yet. Could you please do that? It'll help me out a lot. Also, like this video and be sure to hit the bell notification button so you can be notified every time I put something out that's new. Thank you. All right, guys, this is a world title fight at 147 pounds in Las Vegas this weekend. It's on the same card as Michaela Mayer and Sandy Ryan, the rematch. We know that Norman Jr. and Cuevas were supposed to fight late last year. Norman Jr. had a hand injury and he had to have surgery. We know Cuevas has been inactive. We haven't seen him fight since 2023. But guys, on paper, this is going to be a slugfest. You have Brian Norman Jr., who's 26-0 with 20 knockouts. You have Cuevas, who's 27-1 with 19 knockouts. So they almost have a combined 40 knockouts together. Something's got to give. Do your research on Cuevas, and you're going to realize that this guy, you might not know who he is. He might not have a household name, but he's slick, he has power, and all the tape I've watched on him, his lead hook is dangerous. Now, also, this is going to be his biggest step up in Norman Jr. We know we last saw Norman Jr. against Gio Santillan, where he had a late 10th round knockout in a fight to where he took a lot of shots, he took a lot of damage. Personally, I'd like to see him make some adjustments in terms of where he puts his head, how he moves his head off the center line. Sometimes you have young fighters, he's only 24 years old, he's fighting with that sort of ferocity and aggressive style, and the last thing on his mind is not taking damage. But as a fight fan, you want to see a 24-year-old at that young age make those adjustments so we can see this long, stellar career in which it looks like the trajectory thus far, he is on his way. In this video, we're going to break down both fighters. We're going to remind everybody who they are, talk a little bit about how they go about their business. Also, we're going to see where Las Vegas has these odds, where the bettors have their money. And guys, this is not a blowout by any means. This is not going to be one of those 9-1 10-1 fights. So wait till the middle of the video, we'll get into that. Also at the end, stay tuned. This is where I'll be making my prediction, telling you where I'm gonna put my money. To get started, I want to remind everybody what this fight is all about and what to expect from both guys. Guys, Brian Norman Jr. is a 24-year-old welterweight title holder, originally from Decatur, Georgia. He sits at 26-0 with 20 knockouts and considered to be in the conversation with Jerome Boots Ennis, Ryan Garcia, and Devin Haney, among the best at 47. But by his own calculations, he's yet to earn his belt. After stopping Giovanni Santillan last May to secure an interim title, Norman wasn't elevated to full titleist until Bud Crawford vacated in August to move up in weight. And I quote, "I feel like a champion is not a champion until that first title defense," Norman said. "I've got a wonderful competitor coming against me, so it's time to prove that I'm the real deal champion." That competitor is Puerto Rico's Derrieck Cuevas, who sits at 27-1-1 with 19 knockouts. Cuevas, who's 30, hasn't fought in 15 months and has never faced an opponent on Norman's level. He was saddled with his only career loss in a 6-round split decision against Damian Ezekiel Benelli in 2020, but has posted 4 consecutive stoppage victories since, including most recently a 6-round TKO of Marlon Aguas in December 2023. Norman had been gunning for a much bigger fight, specifically fellow welterweight belt holder Jerome Ennis, before settling on Cuevas, but he said a fighter in Cuevas' shoes can be very dangerous, and I quote, "He's a very tough fighter," Norman said. "He's coming to change his life. This is a championship fight. So I know how he feels. He's thinking, all I have to do is win this one fight, and my whole life changes. He's very strong and powerful. He's coming to knock my head off. It's going to be a very good fight, but I don't think it'll be a long one." Cuevas was the only pick after negotiations between Norman and Ennis sides broke through last fall. And when the initial December 8th fight date was pushed back because of a Norman hand injury, Cuevas continued training and hasn't stopped since. That doesn't mean he's happy about it. He thought that maybe it was going to be an easy fight, Cuevas told Boxing Scene through a translator, and so he started using excuses, a hand injury, that's why the training camp was so long, to see if I would get discouraged. But on the contrary, we kept focused, we kept training, we stayed there, and now we're ready to fight. This is going to be an interesting and intriguing matchup, considering if you've watched Norman Jr.'s fights in terms of his last fight and some of the other ones on his way up. He's not always the most efficient fighter in terms of hit, and not get hit. He's going to stand there and trade. That's why his fans are excited, and that's why his star is on the rise. He's going to fight off that front foot, and he wants to put you in a position where you have to fight him. That's why the Puerto Rican challenger, Cuevas, like I said, is an interesting matchup. His left hook is nasty. Now, we haven't seen him against high-level competition, but like I said earlier, Brian Norman Jr. isn't necessarily the most defensively slick or defensively sound slugger in the division. So right now, I want to take a little bit of a look at Derrieck Cuevas and see who he's been fighting. Guys, Cuevas comes in with a 27-1-1 record with 19 knockouts. He carries into the ring a 70% career knockout to win ratio. The 30-year-old Puerto Rican is an orthodox fighter standing at 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. We last saw him fight Marlon Aguas, 14-1 knockout in the 6th. Alberto Mosquera, 28-5 knockout in the 4th. Damian Rodriguez, 13-1 knockout in the 2nd. Carrera, 15-2 knockout in the 2nd. His only loss was to Benelli back in 2020, who was 23-8, a split decision loss in the 6th. Norman Jr. was elevated to full status because Bud went to 54 to fight Madrimov. So in Norman's eyes, this is the fight that makes him a champion. And in Cuevas' eyes, this is the fight that's going to change his career and change his life. He has a great record. At 30 years old, he's physically stout. He's physically strong. He's going to be the bigger guy. He's going to go in there and think that he's going to win. And stylistically, he's going to fight the fight that Norman wants him to fight. He's not going to run. He's not going to dance around. He's going to stay there. We're going to know real quick whose power is going to hold up, who's going to be more substantial, and the durability of both guys. That's going to be the important bit of the narrative of this fight, I feel, is who's going to be more durable. Who's going to be able to take those punches and turn it into offense. Let's take a closer look at what Brian Norman Jr. has been up to. Guys, Norman Jr. is 26-0 with 20 knockouts. He has a career 77% knockout to win ratio, and out of 2,464 welterweights in the world, he is ranked number 5. He's currently the WBO world champion. The 24-year-old American's an orthodox fighter standing at 5'8" with a 72-inch reach. We last saw him fight Gio Santillan, who was 32-0. Norman knocked him out in the 10th. Bakachika, 17-2. That was a no contest. Randall, 13-0 UD in the 10th. Campos, 24-4 UD in the 8th. Correa, 10-4 UD in the 8th. With Brian Norman Jr., as you've seen him step up his competitions, the knockouts have been subsiding a bit. He did get Santillan out of there in his last fight. It took him a while, but the fights leading up into that fight, he was winning decisions. It's wild to think he's only 24 years old. And that division, 147, now, most people will say it's not the most exciting division since Bud left, but when you have young fighters like Norman Jr., who's 24, who's a champion, that instantly makes it exciting. You got Boots Ennis, who's young as well, and then you got names like Devin Haney, who's entering that division. So there's big fights to be made for whoever wins this fight. You're going to have to think that Norman Jr. is going to want to do the same thing as he always does, force his opponent on their back foot, use the jab to set up the power, and just trade shot for shot. And this is where we talk about why the kid's nickname is the Assassin, because he goes in there to knock his opponents out. When I look at these guys side by side, Norman Jr. is not going to be the taller or physically bigger guy, but he will have the reach advantage. We'll see how much he uses that. He's not really known for jab, 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 pop, get in the pocket. He's known for take one, give one, throw a backhand, and hurt his opponent. We'll see what happens when these two square up in the center of the ring. Right now, Las Vegas has this fight at only a 4-1 favorite odds, meaning that Cuevas is the underdog. But when you look at the last few fights, the last few cards, even the main event fights, you're seeing 8-1, 9-1, even 10-1. I mean, going into the Roach Tank fight, Roach was a 14-1 underdog. So these odds have some people thinking about, who is this Cuevas guy? Why is Norman Jr. only a 4-1 favorite? Right now, I'm going to take a closer look at that money line bet and talk a little bit about the odds down here in Australia. All right, guys, the betting app I use is called Sportsbet. On the money line, if you take Brian Norman Jr. to win and you put $100 on him, you get 23 in return. If you take Cuevas to win, you get 480 on return on a $100 bet. So it's more closer to a 5-1 underdog than a 4-1. I correct myself. The draw is 17-1. If you guys feel it's going to go the decision and both guys didn't, and neither one did enough to prove who's the victor. Now, the method of victory will add a little bit more juice on our bet. Brian Norman Jr. to win points or decision is 270, so 100 gets you 270 back, meaning that if you take that bet outright or on a parlay and Norman Jr. gets a knockout, you lose. Now, Brian Norman Jr. by knockout is 2-1. Cuevas by points or decision, 10-1, 100 gets you 1,000. Cuevas by knockout, 7-1, which is interesting. Both guys are knockout artists. Now, the way the money sits, all the bettors are picking either one to win by knockout, considering both guys have almost 40 knockouts collectively on their record. Now, when I'm thinking about where I'm going to put my money, I have to be honest, I am a little bit hesitant to just go in and 100% confidently say that I think Brian Norman Jr. is going to win. He's going to be tested. What we saw in his last fight against Santillan, and this is just a theory of mine, I feel that some of the issues and some of the struggles that Norman Jr. had with Santillan maybe told his camp that he might not be ready yet for that jump up against Jaron Ennis. So I'm thinking that this is actually a great fight for him and his development to once again use Cuevas as a measuring stick to see where he's at in that maturation. I fully expect him to be ready. I hope his hand's 100%. He's gonna have to use it against the Puerto Rican slugger. I am gonna take Brian Norman Jr. to win this fight. Is he gonna win by knockout? Is he gonna win by decision? I'm gonna just take the money line, the safe bet, put it on a parlay. Stay tuned to the channel. I'll show you all the fights on this card because we documented all of them.